Tonight on CTV, the latest on the wildfires affecting Colorado and the unfortunate plane crash that has had an impact on more than just the landscape.
Plus, the Pandemic Preparedness team's plan to take on COVID, as well as the booster shot news, all aiming at ending the pandemic.
That's here on CTV, Channel 11. Good evening and welcome to the Thursday Night News Show. I'm Kenneth Frederick.
And I'm Weston Hubbard. Colorado is facing the imminent threat of another massive wildfire. The Cougar Rock fire has been spreading at a rapid rate after beginning south of Estes Park earlier this week. Strong winds have helped to spread the fire, which now has burned up to a reported 145 acres of land, with only around 45% of the fire being contained. While the fire crews have been working hard, residents of Estes Park have been evacuated in order to avoid any injuries or casualties that could come out of the fire. However, so far there has been one very tragic story that has come out of it.
Air Force veteran and firefighter Mark Thor Olson passed away Tuesday night while fighting the Cougar fire. He died in a crash after successfully completing an airdrop and going to a final run with fire suppressant. The crash happened at approximately 9:47 at night in the southeast of Estes Park. Olson is the first to ever do a nighttime flight to fight a fire in a plane. A procession of emergency vehicles brought Olson's body to the county coroner's office yesterday.
Fall break is coming up, and with the expectance that many students will be home for the holidays, some bike paths and sidewalks on Colorado State University's campus will be closed. This closure will be due to the work needing to be done on the water pipes beneath these paths. The paths included the ones that are adjacent to the north side of Center Avenue and Lake Street. These closures are expected to happen between November 22nd to November 29th.
Ground level ozone removal is especially tough in places like the Front Range, with large populations near the mountains. This range goes from Fort Collins all the way down to Colorado Springs. The pandemic and the wildfires we've seen in the last 2 years are the main cause. During the past summer, ozone levels frequently spiked over the federal limit for public health. According to Frank Flock, an atmospheric researcher in Boulder, increasing the use of electric vehicles and renewable energy is key to reducing the ozone levels.
The Larimer County budget for 2022 has lots in store, with a lot of public safety plans included. The budget, which is set to be about $639.5 million, is dedicating around $197 million of it to capital projects to help benefit public safety. Among those projects is an expansion to Larimer County's jailing system and the Larimer County Behavioral Health Center receiving improvements, and as well as a plethora of other good uses. It's a good feeling to know our county is putting the budget to good use.
With global pandemics being a very real threat these days, CSU is committing $1.4 million to selected studies that are focused on the future pandemic resilience. The two main areas of the study and the focus are early detection and rapid response methods to react to pandemics. Their two main studies are focusing on stopping misinformation and monitoring student health on campus.
Make sure you stick around, Rams. We'll update you on the continued cold weather to come.
That's next on Weather here at CTV Channel 11.
Welcome back from the break, Rams.
Thanks for joining us again on CTV News. Food insecurity is a big issue facing many Rams. The ASCSU has passed Resolution 5105, Support for a Hunger-Free Campus funding. The bill seeks support from the Department of Higher Education and CSU to recognize the threat and take action. It also endorses the Hunger-Free Campus Bill, an initiative started in California. It has since passed in 3 other states, being introduced in 6 others as well. Food security is particularly tough for women and non-binary people, an issue that Senator Evan Welch brought up while speaking on the resolution.
Surveys from the University of Wisconsin shows that women report 32% higher rates of food insecurity than men, while non-binary students report 6% higher rates than men. Continued research from University of Minnesota confirms that food insecurity disproportionately impacts women of color attending both 2-year and 4-year colleges.
Copy of the resolution will now go to dozens of people in CSU's administration and the Department of Higher Education.
At the beginning of this year, getting a COVID shot felt like an impossible task for some. And if you're getting the feeling of deja vu, you're not alone. The state of Colorado has lessened the restrictions on receiving a booster shot, but obtaining one can still feel like quite the task. Places like King Soopers, Safeway, and Walmart are providing booster shots for the public in northern Colorado. The increased need for a booster shot comes in the wake of Governor Jared Polis claiming that Colorado is in a state of high COVID infection rates.
You this week declared the entire state to be at high risk of exposure, and you told adults to go get a booster shot. Do you think other states should follow suit, and are you disappointed that the CDC has not been clear on this?
Yeah, so we have about 1,500 people hospitalized. 81% of them, Margaret, are unvaccinated. Now, of the 19% that are vaccinated, we can reduce that, come close to eliminating it with the booster. And yes, I've been very frustrated with the convoluted messaging out of the CDC and the FDA. Everybody should get the booster after 6 months.
You can schedule an appointment for a booster shot at one of the various locations online on their respective websites.
Fort Collins residents voted during last year's election for the city to try and buy the former Hughes Stadium area. It passed and is now seeing results. CSU and the city are finalizing an agreement for Fort Collins to purchase the land for $12.5 million. CSU System Chancellor Tony Frank said, quote, "We believe this plan ensures the city is responsive to the will of the voters, who asked that this remain open space," end quote. The process of the acquisition of the land will be discussed at next week's council meeting on Tuesday. The deal will most likely go through in the first half of next year.
In an effort to bring awareness and get funds for youth mental health, a group of organizations has banded together and released the Children and Youth Mental Health Playbook. The playbook acts to give officials at a county and statewide level ways to properly handle youth mental health. Some of the organizations involved are names you've likely heard of, such as Children's Hospital. Alongside the playbook, the advocates are calling for the state to provide $150 million from its budget to help youth mental health. The urgency for this playbook and the budget comes from the worry of the pandemic and how it has affected the mental health of the youth within the state. Well, Rams, that is all the time we have for you tonight.
But stick around for the latest on sports as Cameron Evig looks at women's sports updates and basketball.
And later, Tom Isaacson checks out all the best in entertainment news here on CTV.